Tell me something I wasn't, I did. As they think Freddie Freeman, that was a done deal.
Whatever it was.
Yeah. Cody Kraft, Jeremiah, Alex Timmerman, Trustee Glad, Tyler, Corey Rickman.
Did you set up a meeting with GMS?
Yes.
Like an independent, an individual?
I'm good.
Board of Education order. It is 6 p.m. on September 21st. Roll call.
Quinn. Here. Foot.
Here.
Cooksmall. Winders.
Here.
Levelholtz. Dahlberg.
Here.
Fenn.
Here.
And we did the budget at the last budget hearing, so move on to consent agenda. Any discussion on consent agenda?
No, I'll make a motion that we accept the consent agenda as presented to the Board of Education at tonight's September 21 meeting.
Been moved by Dave, second by Donna to approve the consent agenda as stated on the agenda. Roll call.
Aye.
Foot.
Aye.
Quinn. Aye. Fenn.
Aye.
Winders.
Aye.
And moving on, recognition of visitors and correspondence. We have a student council representative with us.
We can just sit here, correct?
You can.
Okay.
That's fine. Normally we have you on parade and.
That's next week.
So just be.
Well, I'm Jody Brennison, and I'm one of the co-advisors. This is my first year helping out Mrs. Sirianni, so it's been an absolute treat. These kids are amazing go-getters. They are able to tackle anything and everything that comes their way. So we were just going to talk a little bit about what's been going on and with homecoming coming up, and if you have any questions. Basically, Liam Thumser is our president. He will normally be the person. So he sent me notes because that's Liam to go from. But basically, we've been meeting every week for the last few weeks. It's been 2 times a week, getting things prepared for homecoming, having different committees set up for the float. There's a person in charge of the float, the posters, the dance, the purchasing. All of those different things have been occurring. So they're basically just dividing and conquering as they go. Next week, we're very excited. I'm even excited. Next week is dress up day. So do you want to tell them what we're going to be doing?
So basically, as per usual, we have PJ Day on Monday, and then Tuesday is going to be our 80s workout day. And then Wednesday is going to be country versus country club. And then
So the freshmen and sophomores are country, and then the junior seniors are
country club. And then we have class distinction day on Thursday. So the freshmen are going to be millennials. The sophomores are senior citizens, and then the juniors are going to be middle-aged, and then the seniors are going to be elementary school age. So we're going to be like preschoolers and toddlers, basically. So yeah, that's our basic outline of the dress-up days. And then we also have committees going on in charge of the parade, which is what I am kind of in charge of as one of the senior members of the parade committee. And we've been working very diligently to get together a nice lineup for all the businesses that we have currently contacting us about being a part of the parade. We only have 5 or 6 so far, but hopefully people do email us about that and we'll get it all figured out. So that's going nice and smoothly as per usual. And then we have the poster committee getting together, posters for the cars for the homecoming, report and, prom committee and all that.
We are still in need of convertibles, so if you happen to know anybody or have a connection, we
Hey!
might be sticking them in Jeeps if we can,
You
so
can use mine. You
that
can
would be
use-
awesome.
When is it?
Next Friday.
A
Yeah,
week from Friday.
Yeah. Okay, we'll reach
I'll
out
be
to you.
around.
Thank
Line
you.
up at 3.
Yeah, line up at 3.
Okay,
Thank you.
you're welcome.
yeah, we've been having a bit of a struggle getting convertibles this year.
I guess Jen Hines, her parents have one. We're just trying to think of moving.
Yeah, and then, the foreign exchange student Lulu is going to be riding in, Kaylee's parents' Jeep in the parade, so we have that figured out. The dance is going very nicely, we're getting decorations ordered now, so they'll be in and we'll be all good.
They were ordered this afternoon.
Thank you.
Yes.
They have a lot of great ideas, and it's really fun. It's different to step back as a class advisor. I'm kind of there to do things, but as a student council advisor, I'm just there. They have a very well-oiled
Yeah,
machine going on, so it's been really, really exciting to see the things that they have planned. And then right now they're selling ice cream as one of their fundraisers. So if you happen to be in the area and you want some Culver's ice cream, they're selling them for $3.
Very limited
My-
supply left after today.
My freezer in my foods classroom is full of leftovers. So they have Sharpies with their names in it, they do, where they can keep their ice cream and come back to it.
yeah, we're basically just trying to do a good job of being a student council that tries to bring up the morale of our student body, because I see a lot of depression in my student body, and we try to do our best to really uplift the students that we have that we see are not exactly the happiest when they come into school, but then when they go home at the end of the day, they feel a little better about themselves and go home happy. when they come out of school.
And they're instilling the leadership not only in the upper class, but giving that to the younger grades just to kind of get their feet wet and keep them going. So
Try to stay organized.
it's been awesome.
Thank you for all the work.
Only had to say no to a few things. They have plenty of ideas. No shortage.
I think I heard him say something about getting the principal convertible. So, was that a no?
I don't want to mess my hair up.
Any questions for?
I'm sorry.
It's Madeline.
Maddie Hager.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Appreciate it. Anybody else want to do it? Moving on to staff reports. Mr. Hart.
All right, hard to follow that, but do my best. So we had our usual open house kickoff again, as usual. Tremendous turnout for both pre-K, thankfully, for both pre-K and K6 classrooms. It was great to get families out. Interestingly though, it's probably the year that I've seen the most need for families that needed supplies and other back-to-school items, backpacks, things like that. I've never gotten so many calls or emails before this year. So, and thankfully we were able to supply all those pieces, which is awesome. St. Mark's obviously did a tremendous job of partnering with us and got a ton of supplies, but it was interesting to see it. At least in my time, it's my 5th year. I've never seen so many of them before. So, anyway, good or bad is what it is, but it was certainly the case this year. We are again continuing to affect love our K through 3rd grade kiddos. That's that Oxford scale that we're aligning this letter for the specific grade level that they're at. Long story short, I just want to give some kudos out to a couple of our staff members, Sandy and Sam Ward, and Owen, doing a tremendous job with it. And they did a really good job this year too of taking and aligning kiddos who are, who we do that piece, correct. But then we do like kind of a universal screener for all kids. The star reading and math that we use for every single kid. Did a great job of kind of correlating those between like our outliers, the kids that are really scoring high, on a tech level, we're really low on the star, or vice versa, or are we consistently seeing that pattern and we're still meeting the need in the most efficient way possible? So they've kind of reformatted some of, not the testing, but how we present the testing and how we engage families. So kudos to all of them for doing a great job of that. We had our first PTO meeting, last week. It was great, as usual, really, really nice turnout. Thanks to our PTO for just always providing all those things that, you barely notice, but they do such a remarkable job behind the scenes on it. Probably their biggest purchase last year is our pre-K, new playground equipment for pre-K, which is, we found out going up soon, which is good. So Grover's gonna get that up here on Columbus Day, which will be great. We wanna get that rolling for the kiddos and utilizing that. And then I left out one other thing I'd like to slide in here. So last year, late last year, Teresa McCullough, our ELL teacher, she applied for a grant. She applies for a bunch of, she's very, very good at it. Anyway, she solidified another grant at $3,000 through books. It's a Dollar General Literacy Foundation Youth Grant. So kudos to her. We're gonna be, she's working with Susanna Ward Librarian to purchase a bunch of ELL materials, books, and other pieces that we're gonna embed into specific classrooms. Got a great plan with it. But anyway, kind of behind the scenes stuff that you don't notice. She does a really, really great job of that. Kind of sing her praises out loud. So that's kind of it for me.
Just one thing of note for the PTO, which I love this year, is they had done a thing where you could actually purchase the school supplies,
Yes.
and all you had to do was go online, check that you wanted to order it, and they were on your desk when you got into school. And my wife and I, neither one of us love to go out and do that stuff, so it was perfect.
Yeah, Stephanie Schiller, she put a lot of time and energy into that behind the scenes, and not like normal go through the motion kind of effort. Like, she was so diligent. She hunted down these different companies, and she's like, it's like she's interviewing for a job. Like, she's so diligent on the things. Like, I want what kind of materials are they coming with? What are they doing with it? I mean, they sent too small scissors, so she's like, you gotta send the bigger ones. So they turtles back there. Anyway, kudos to her. She did a great job. So I think they're gonna continue with it, because we did have a lot of things that we liked. More than I expected, Any questions?
Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it. All right, moving on to Mr. Searing.
I'll skip the first one and come back to that at the end, because that one might have some more conversation with that. Our science, the distance learning course in biology is up and running. It has definitely been challenging in certain aspects, pieces of technology that all of a sudden one period aren't working, but they worked the period before, or they quit working partly. It's pieces that we found most of it to be on the end of the company that's providing it. It's good that it's not our end. We are still searching and hoping to find a person to take over that position yet before the end of the school year. We had one person express interest, but ended up not panning out due to some logistics with where they currently live and get out of a lease without a penalty. So we're still hoping that we find somebody, especially with some of the student teachers and some of the local colleges. Maybe we've got somebody that would be willing to take on at least for a trial basis for the spring semester. It's not easy and we knew that going in. Online learning, we learned that in COVID. Most kids struggle with it. This isn't traditional online learning, but there's pieces of it that still have that everything on a computer. It's not ideal. So we've got to kind of balance, how they're doing versus how should they do. So the good part is their teacher grades everything, but then we get to make the final determination of, well, what does that translate into our grade system, and how do we enter that into Skyward? So we at least have the ability to say, hey, this kid is doing everything they're supposed to, and their grade doesn't reflect it. Well, we're going to adjust it. So Ms. Baxa, who we hired as our high school, junior high, full-time sub, this year is in charge of all three of those classes. She's the teacher in there to monitor the kids, and then she is the one that, will get the grades from the teacher, and then she and I will sit down and we'll put those into the system and figure that out. Again, the sooner we can find a person to fill that role, the better for us, but it is doing what it needs to for the time being. Homecoming, you heard Mrs. Renison and Maddie talk about that. So next week, Monday is only a dress-up day. Other than that, the day is normal. After that, every day gets a little crazier as we go. So activities in the afternoon, culminating with Friday's pep rally and then the parade at 3:30. Game down at the field at 7, and then Saturday night the dance. So that's always one of the weeks that, I think the kids look forward to. The adults in the building kind of dread a little bit, just because you never know what kind of goofiness you're going to get. But it's fun, and it's a fast week, and when Saturday night comes and everybody is back home safe and sound, then it was a successful week. So we did originally have arrangements that the East Dubuque boys were going to go over to Southwestern this Friday, and the football players would be a part of their parade as part of the SWED football co-op. And then next Friday, in return, the Southwestern boys would come over here. However, both districts are in dire need of bus drivers, and we don't have bus drivers available to take kids over, wait for a parade, and bring them back, and then you're gonna bring them right back over for the game. So for this year, the decision was made that the Southwestern boys will be in their parade, and these boys will be in our parade. They're still several of them are going to each other's dances, so we'll still see a lot of kids commiserating that way. Two things that I did have on here, but one of them kind of ties into what Wes talked about. The high school, junior high, kudos to Dawn Armour Powers at the junior high and Wayne Logan Bush. They have been instrumental in getting the first round of Star 360 testing. I think junior high is all the way completed, and high school has just a handful of kids left to go through the first round of it. So by next month, we'll be able to have some data to kind of give us a gauge of where our kids are at in that regard. And I don't think we've ever talked about this, and I don't know why it has not come up, but all of the kids in 7th through 12th grade have a period this year called WOW. Just a simple term, but for World of Warriors, we are doing 15 minutes every day of a regular day. So, for instance, next week during homecoming, there won't be any of this. Early dismissal days or late start days, we won't do it, but in a regular day, we took 1 to 2 minutes from each class period. So instead of 45-minute classes, they're now 43 minutes, and we created a 15-minute block of time dedicated to social emotional needs. So the first couple of weeks were very basic icebreaker activities. The kids have 10 to 12 kids that are in a classroom. Each teacher has those 10 to 12 kids every day for those 15 minutes. And the goal is we are actually now getting into some of the meat and potatoes of what we need to talk about. So this week is kindness and respect. And so they're just doing a variety of activities. There was a group of staff that met multiple times this summer to create this curriculum for it, and we're kind of tweaking it, and we'll add to it as it goes along. But to build that camaraderie with the group of kids, for you to be able to build connections with the kids, it's still in its infancy, a month in, but I think overall the feedback from kids and watching what's going on in and around those rooms has been well worth the effort that was put into it so far. So to hear kids talking about WOW, that's what they're referring. World of Warriors. If you put the SEL title to it, it just kind of gives a different connotation, and we didn't want it to be that. We want it to be a community. So the first item that I really didn't hit on at the beginning, but definitely a piece that we need to inform you about, is the football co-op. So as we came to find out from our travels to the WIA this summer and the denial of playoffs, we weren't just a couple of months late for the co-op submission for this current 2-year cycle. We were a year and a few months late. And so October 1st of this fall is actually the application date to make us playoff eligible when we get to the fall of 24. So we don't need to have a vote from the school board. We just wanted to inform you that we are resubmitting the application. And we as a co-op are requesting to be placed in a conference and not the current one that we're in Wisconsin. We are actually looking to be placed into, really it's the old SWAL conference for those that have been around enough and have followed any of the local sports. So we'd be looking at schools like Cuba City and Darlington and Mineral Point, and travel becomes even less than what it is currently, which is already impressive, because our longest trip this year is to Belleville, which was just under an hour and a half. The SWAL conference has informally, unanimously said, yes, it makes sense to have you guys, enrollment with us two combined is right in the ballpark with all of those other schools. So that's the approach that we're taking. The paperwork has to be submitted by the 1st of October, so, we'll have Glenn, if you guys were, if nobody has any major dissension to it, that's what we would do is, submit that paperwork with our signatures and then submit that to the WIA.
No issue here. Yeah, everybody approved it, like, the conference agrees, like you've already said, and we agree on that. Is there any way that they can say no? Yeah.
Well, the WIA cannot deny the co-op to be approved.
Right.
And it can't deny us playoff eligibility in 2024, but they could come back and say, well, looking at competitiveness, looking at enrollment numbers, you need to be placed in a different conference. They could say that. So this is, it helps to have the backing of the conference that you're applying to get in. And you look at any of these Wisconsin conferences and they only play 4 or 5, maybe 6 in a good year conference teams. The rest of it are crossovers or non-conference where you're still trying to find, so the more teams you can get into a conference, the better it is.
Any questions for Mr. Sirianni? Only question I had was about biology class. Is the student experience still okay? I know that there were 6 hiccups with technology.
So, I think most of the students would say they would prefer to have the teacher in front of them. But considering the alternatives of having them on a self-paced traditional online class, which would have been the other alternative, this is a better option.
I have one in there, and that's exactly what I should say. Better than somebody live, it's fine, typical sophomore response.
He does have the Alabama drawl. The distance teacher is from Alabama and can't hide that.
Thank you.
Any other questions?
Thanks, Karen.
Thank you. All right, then we'll move on to Mr. Potts. Board report. Nothing really, I just wanted to call out, from transportation, Jeff had kind of identified that there's 5 stop arm violations in the first week of school, and there's been 7 since through the 14th of September, so, just make sure that you're being safe out there. If you see a bus stop, not sure what to do, just stop. Or it can be safe stuff. So. The report card online is going to be out on October 1st. That will be coming up. Has there been anything on the report card from your guys?
We met with Steve Rickert last week, and we got just some very brief glimpses, but nothing that we could really report on there.
So, I know you guys have to read through it prior to the meeting. Is there anything you guys want to discuss?
Nobody's ready to get the bus driver's license.
That's the other thing, we do need bus drivers, so.
Oh, maybe you might step up to the plate on that one, Karen.
I don't know if I can reach.
So that's all for staff reports then. Moving on to old business, we have the phase 2 updates. And he did not mention anything specific to me, Darren, or
No, everything, at this point, we did meet last week with all of the different subcontractors that are gonna be coming in. And it's either yet this week or sometime in the next week or so that they're gonna start doing some earth moving in the back. We should start to see some progress very soon.
Any other old business? Moving on to new business, 6.1 is an action item to approve the 2024 international trip that was presented last month by Alice. For this. So is there anything that has changed since last month, or is it still?
The good news is, while the price of the trip, you know, it does kind of shock people, we've locked in this price, and so all of the rise in flights and everything else for like the general public that's been happening over the past 4 to 6 weeks will not affect us, so.
Does it affect if it goes down? Alex, do you get a break on that or no? No, it's just, okay.
Looks like a fun trip, so any questions at all? I entertain a moment to approve.
Second.
Been moved by Dan, second by Dave, to approve the 2024 international trip. Roll call, please.
Sen,
Aye.
Dahlberg,
Aye.
Quinn,
Aye.
Winters,
Aye.
Hook.
Aye. Moving on to 6.2, adoption of board policies. So this is policy, the team went over them last month, prior to the meeting. They were all pretty straightforward from what I remember, pretty much language updates for the most part, so.
Yep.
I entertain a motion to approve those.
So move.
Second.
Been moved by Dave, second by Donna, to approve the adoption of the board policy. Roll call, or actually all those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. And then, 6.3 is to adopt the fiscal year 2023 budget. We had our budget hearing prior to our meeting tonight. There was just a slight change from last month's presentation. Dave, for your benefit, since he didn't make the hearing, there's a $12,000 difference for a $9,000 snowplow for the truck that we just purchased, and $3,000 associated with it.
Thanks.
Any questions? I entertain a motion to approve.
So move.
Been moved by Patrick, second by Dave, to approve the fiscal year 2023 budget. Roll call, please.
Dahlberg,
Aye.
Quinn,
Aye.
Sen,
Aye.
Winters,
Aye.
Hook.
Okay, moving on to 6.4 is approval of the boys baseball overnight trip to Jacksonville, Illinois, March 17th through the 19th of next spring. Is there anything that you wanted to discuss in regards to that?
No, I don't think so. First off, thank you, as always, board members. Opportunity for kids to go down south, a little warmer, get 2 hours away. We've tried Macomb the last 3 years and it's snubbed us. Last year to the fact that we're not gonna go back. I had a little difficulty with the hotel, not letting us out of our, agreement. It's an outdoor event with a high school baseball team, and we had to pay for both nights, even though it was 32 degrees and rain. So we talked with Darren and TJ and all that, so we tried to find somewhere else. So it's a good opportunity. March 17th, I believe, conferences. There's no school. We can leave kind of whatever in the morning, get 2 games. Opportunity for kids to travel. Minimal costs, probably for each player that goes. I've already had some parents reach out as far as how they can help, just maybe food or a night of pizzas or whatever. So 4 hours south, go down, get 2 or 3 games in, and come back Sunday, and everybody's back in bed. Decent time Sunday night for school on Monday. So
Is this at Illinois College?
this is that it's an all-turf field. I can't.
That's all right.
Think
I
of
was
the
just
name right
curious.
off the top of my head, but it's an
Yeah.
all-turf. It's like a showcase place. They have 3 weekends of high school baseball, so we'll go down and play 1A and 2A schools. But they have there's 3 weeks, I think, in March, the first week of April. It's nice. They're turf fields, so if it rains, as soon as it's done raining, we can play. The only thing that'll deter us from playing is if we have them in the spring like last year, where it's really cold. So yeah. So I wish it was at the college, but this is just there's like 6 turf fields. It's crazy. It's kind of a vetplex, I guess, type thing.
Sure.
Yeah. So
I'll make a motion to approve boys baseball.
Been moved by Donna, second by Dan, to approve the baseball overnight trip. Roll call.
Dahlberg,
Aye.
Quinn,
Aye.
Penn,
Aye.
Wood,
Aye.
Winters.
Thank you. Thank you. Thanks, Brandon. Yep. So moving on to 6.5 is insurance renewals, effective November 1st, 2022. Don't have any specific details regarding the.
Assuming it's the same as all.
There was the insurance didn't go up, medical or dental did not.
Same coverages and everything, same carriers.
Yep. And then, Donna, what you're probably looking at is the Kunkel.
Yeah.
Yeah. This here, I'm thinking is just what our thought was just for the staff renewals for the insurance. So it's still medical associates, it's still, MetLife dental, we added vision through, name is escaping me, but, and then the vision is 100% paid for by the employee, the district does not pay for anything, but the rates for both medical and dental was zero, there was no increase, at a 0%.
But it's like I said, it's the same coverage.
Everything, the plan's nine same.
And then you're giving them the option to purchase the
Yep, so if
I heard
anybody
that.
wants to purchase, the division, they can, and it's, when we kind of did a survey, there was a lot of things that.
So I entertain a motion to.
Second.
Been moved by Dave, second by Dan, to approve the insurance renewals effective November 1st, 2022. Roll call, please.
Dahlberg,
Aye.
Winters,
Aye.
Quinn. Aye. Penn,
Aye.
Wood.
Aye. So moving on to 6.6, which is informational application for school maintenance grants. So I believe that was for 50,000. That is great. And really good usage.
We were awarded it, or
No,
we
it's
are
just
applying for it? Is it a match one or?
Is it, I don't think it is.
They are submitting that. And then, Mr. Hiring referenced 6.7, which is the Dollar General Literacy Foundation Literacy Grant Award. So thank you very much for getting that submitted and awarded. Congratulations. And then 6.8 is in regards to school board election packets being available. I believe they are available the 20th. So anybody that is looking to want to run, there's 3 positions available. Ms. Lynn, Mr. Leopold, and Mr. Winters. I believe 2 of them are not running for re-election, so anybody that's interested in running for school board, please feel free to call the school. You can contact me if you have any questions about what that entails. If you know anybody that's interested.
What's the deadline date again? December 6th?
Usually right before Christmas.
Number 19.
We've got a little ways to go. It does require 50 signatures. For registered position. All right. All I have for new business, any other new business, anybody? So moving on to personnel. Any questions or comments on?
Make a motion to approve the personnel as stated.
Second. Been moved by Dan, second by Patrick, to approve the personnel as stated on the agenda. Roll call, please.
Winters,
Aye.
Quinn. Aye. Penn,
Aye.
Dahlberg,
Aye.
Wood.
Aye. All right, moving on to President's Prerogative, I just want to say thank you to Jeremiah for doing our video for us, and greatly appreciated. I look forward to eventually we'll get some microphones out here. Hopefully we'll be able to hear a little bit more, but much appreciated in that time and effort. Thank you.
Yeah, awesome.
Thank you.
So moved. Second. Been moved by Dave, second by John, to adjourn. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. All right. Thank you, everyone.